Is that going to be the intro? Just all the ASMR sounds.
What are we doing? Okay. So whenever the hell I feel like releasing one, me and family and friends get together and these days mostly cry about the current socio-political climate of our country. You summoned us here.
I don't know. I just feel like there's so much information going out.
And there's too many Jews living.
No.
It feels like there's so much information going out and nobody knows how to discern truth from propaganda. And I think there is some fear-mongering. I think there's some relative things happening that we as a society need to be concerned about. And I think it's more important than ever that everybody is just pooling from the same pond, I guess. Like, drawing from the same information. Listen, I don't have a script, okay?
You don't need a script to have a conversation.
I'm just saying, well, okay. I'm just saying, we need to draw from the same pool, okay?
Hold on a second, the teleprompter went out.
Yeah, well, I don't ever get any catchphrases right or phrase, whatever. I always screw them up.
Even the word catchphrase?
Even the word catchphrase. But I think it's more important than ever that we are at least united in the information that we have so that we can form genuine opinions that aren't slanted toward us.
So how do you determine what's accurate and what is inaccurate?
Well, it's really down to, is it an editorial or is it raw information or objectively presented? And I think people take a lot of editorial type pieces and acclimate them into their knowledge base as completely objective and have a difficult time forming their own opinions, really.
Yeah, but like there's very few sources of information that are just purely objective.
It depends. In school, they teach you how to do research. So, like, back when I was in school, many moons ago, Wikipedia, we couldn't use, we couldn't use Wikipedia as a source of information that was credible because anybody could edit it, anybody could add information. It seems a little less to be like that for some reason.
You can at least verify it too, though.
Yes.
So you could responsibly source well, you wouldn't source Wikipedia. You would source the sources you find in Wikipedia.
Yes. And luckily, there's that one guy who went through and he's done a ton of work on Wikipedia, but there's always source information that you can go to and verify the information.
Well, the whole point of Wikipedia originally was that it was an encyclopedia that would include things like Pac-Man. Mm-hmm. Stuff you wouldn't normally find in an encyclopedia.
Yeah.
That would be like pop culture related. It was basically everything. So
yeah, and it was posted and curated by just random people.
Because it kind of had to be.
Yeah.
Because like, how do you make that like profitable or how do you, the manpower that would have to go into it, to updating it and everything, it almost requires
I do know they take donations because I've been donating every year.
Yeah,
it's like the only thing I donate to.
They always update me or tell me, like, because I'm at least checking it once or twice a week because I stumble across a movie and I'm like, who's that actor? And you know what I mean? Like,
definitely.
So I've gotten a lot of use out of it just for general information.
Yeah. And they're always on Google searches.
Yeah, and it's never like my one-stop information thing. It's more or less a collection of information in one spot, and then you can go from there.
Yes.
Like to look up stuff. But to give you an idea, this happened yesterday because there's this highly religious, far-right conservative person that I talked to. Mm-hmm. And the way we became friends, as I won't go into it because that would take forever, but it involved like a national lawsuit that I won.
We're not getting into that.
Right. But
this isn't the Kaflash podcast.
She was basically on the enemy's side, and I flipped her and whatever. Mm-hmm. But like we talk every day, surprisingly. But she says this to me like yesterday. She was talking about Chelsea Clinton. She says, "Do you know who she's married to? George Soros' son, another billionaire globalist scumbag, the guy who loves to collapse economies for fun. Did you know he pretended to not be a Jew and was actually turning in Jews during the Holocaust? Like, how evil do you have to be to do that?"
Oh my God.
And then I said to her, I'm like, because I don't, when you deal with a schizophrenic person, if they're like, I'm a prophet and Jesus tells me, you don't go, no, you're not.
Right.
You just go, yes,
You roll
sir.
with it, yes.
Yeah, because
Uh-huh.
you don't want to corner them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, oh, okay, but wasn't George Soros also like 11 years old during the Holocaust?
Right.
And then she's like, well, that must be why. That's how you know he's evil. He was 11 and doing it. But then I end up like looking up what she was referring to because obviously there's a root for all this. And apparently the original rumor was that Chelsea was married to George Soros's nephew, which is totally untrue as well. His last name isn't even. I don't even know what his last name is, but because it's not. His first name's Mark, but it basically said because the husband Mark prefers privacy, it doesn't mean that Republicans can make up a bunch of stuff about him. But yeah, basically, it's just another thing she heard.
In my estimation, anybody named Mark is obviously an anti-Semite.
Right.
I mean, he could have taken the Clinton last name.
Even
at
though
this
he's
point.
Jewish.
Yeah.
Right. Like, he's actually Jewish. George Soros isn't Jewish at all. Like, yeah, Chelsea's husband is, but...
Oh, it's like how our grandfather was Jewish.
I guess. Yeah, people can be Jewish.
It's allowed these days.
Yeah.
But, like, another thing she shared, this was... No, another thing she shared was about, it was from...
What the fuck?
Sorry.
Roger Stone's nephew is trying to start a grift on Twitter. Like, where I'm going to bring you information and send me $1 to only $1 and you can subscribe to my news feed, blah, 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 whatever. And so he made a post the other day saying that, upon Elon Musk's investigation into, what is it, USAID? Because nobody's ever heard of USAID until 4 days ago, so now it's responsible for everything because you can say anything you want about it because nobody knew what it was until then.
Well, nobody cared.
Yeah, and but like one of the things like he posted was that $3 million was spent on shrimp treadmills, and then it turned out that and there was a community notes from Twitter, and it's not like Twitter is a left-wing haven now, so the community notes are. You can't say they're unfair anymore. You know what I mean? Just because of like what's allowed on Twitter now. And it specified that was like $3 million was spent overall in grants for like multiple studies. But the specific one about the shrimp treadmill was paid for out of pocket by one scientist. And the reason for it was because they would pollute the water to a certain degree and they would see how much endurance the shrimp had in various degrees of polluted water. Because naturally, if you had a stagnant pool of water that was affecting shrimp's endurance, they wouldn't be able to breed and run away and do this, and so that can overall affect the entire ecosystem. But nobody goes beyond that. They just go shrimp treadmills. Whoa!
When I think of a shrimp treadmill, I just think of a fat guy on a treadmill with a fishing pole and a line in front of him and
a shrimp dangling. Yeah.
And then awkward silence.
Your turn.
The USA was the Politico thing, right? With the subscriptions.
Oh yeah. I think I brought that up.
It wasn't just political, right? Though.
I mean, Politico was the big one that they were going after. Where you're just like,
because they view
they were
Politico
saying $8 million.
They view Politico as a left-wing publication,
right? But what it turned out was it was subscriptions for their objective Politico Pro program that all the Congress uses and everybody uses.
Literally every politician uses it, including the politicians that are like screaming about how this is payola,
right? And they were all saying it was just subscriptions.
It's like, no,
that
you
was
have a
paying
subscription to Politico Pro too.
Yeah.
So secretly, I'm like already laughing about like once all those payments get canceled and everybody goes to like do their job and see what's going on their pages, and then it's all just gonna crumble and be like, "What happened?"
Well, like another example too that happened recently was just to show the leaps of logic that they do. There's like a streamer called Vosh. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's like a pretty popular streamer, and he just sort of like
you wouldn't like him.
Oh, okay.
But like new wave autistic streamers, and
I mean, like, I agree with a lot of his politics. I don't like him.
Right. But he made like a post basically saying like half satirical, but just saying like, yeah, now I got to wake up every morning and make sure my channel's still here because who knows what they're gonna say is against the state now or whatever the fuck, just because of like stuff that's been going on in the news. But that's his sort of comedy,
right?
And they took that clip and they said here is Vosh admitting that without U.S. aid funding his life, he can no longer have a channel.
Oh God.
And it's like, that's a tremendous leap.
Yeah.
So they have no proof that U.S. aid has been funding YouTubers, but now apparently that's all the proof they need is that one guy said his channel took a dip in views or something like that after U.S. aid gets what do you call it?
Fucking gutted or whatever.
I don't even know if gutted, but audited, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what they're trying to do. Probably both. But
I
no,
don't know.
if they were properly auditing it, you wouldn't have all the wrong information. An audit would actually tell you what every single dollar goes to.
No, it is literally looking for excuses to get rid of all these programs that have helped America and Americans for like the past what?
You should get closer to the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Put some pillows behind you. We have to sit upright and he gets to lay down.
I don't know. I'm kind of in between everything right now.
I can hear you perfectly fine. I bought this microphone, which is a live microphone.
Podcasting is so difficult. Slather me in baby oil.
This thing was bought in 2003, so
Oh wow. All right.
it's been sitting in a bucket ever since.
And not once has he proclaimed to get everybody to get ready to rumble on that microphone.
yeah.
No
Yeah.
kidding. Sean, I thought
We
you
have
wanted
to,
to look
that's what
similar
you
to
should have
that.
done. You should have hung it from the ceiling.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
And then we could just reach out and grab it and talk into it like that.
Yeah. No.
What about Bob Barker?
No.
You
I
can
don't-
do
I
Louis
don't-
Anderson.
Yeah.
As a WWE announcer?
Oh, Louis Anderson.
Hey guys,
Let's get ready to rumble. All right, everybody, time to have a wrestling match.
I can get you to open in Vegas while you have sex with me. That's what he told my cousin, apparently.
Oh, really?
Who's a stand-up comic?
Yeah, his cousin was on America's Got Talent.
No shit.
He got thrown off.
Would he make it to the second round?
I think so, but the way he described it, it was so fixed. People noticed that, like, when he got booted off during the second thing, they didn't even show his performance. But people were like, why were you so, like, red in the face and huffing and puffing? And they made it look like he came out and they're like, come up with a joke on the spot. And he's like, looks all, like, nervous and he's, like, sweating. And then he tries to come up with a joke, like, right on the spot. He's like, no, I did a whole 20-minute set before they started filming that.
Oh,
Like they made
What
him
the
do
hell?
a whole 20-minute set, didn't show any of it. Then they're like, hey, that's nice material. Now invent jokes on the spot for us right now. And so he's all like red in the face and
Right.
sweating, and it looks like he looked like, he just like clammed up and
Well, yeah. Wow.
and he's a super like active. He does imitations and shit. So he's like, like moving around the stage and everything. He's not one of these guys that just walks around, like with
Right.
a mic. So
I thought his joke was pretty funny.
oh yeah, what was it? My owl or no,
Or
my
he
doctor
drinks,
told me.
Yeah, he drinks so much that his doctor told him that his liver is like an owl, spotted and endangered.
That's really good.
I mean, to come up with that on the spot with
That's really
cameras
good.
rolling, I guess.
Huge ass audience. I like the segue noise.
Make more fun noises.
That's your cue to like cut to the next.
And cut. And next segment.
So, what do you guys think about spiders?
Sexy. That's it.
I like how Shannon was like, I got to come over to talk about politics, and then like she's just like all clammed up now.
Yeah, I know, because we started talking before we started recording, and I was like, no, what were
Yeah,
we talking
it's
about?
like, well, no, we'll talk about it on the podcast. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I know. Now I don't
And
even remember
and
what we were talking about.
Let's talk about Sean's bathroom.
No, it's not.
Let us never speak of Sean's bathroom.
Oh my god.
Although it looks great now.
When I get my house money, I'm getting a plumber.
Oh, thank you.
You'll come home from work one day and be able to flush his shit for the first time in 6 years without the use of a plunger.
Will I be able to use the bathroom sink?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I just know to fix my bathroom. It's just because I only have one bathroom in my house, and it's just going to be out of commission for forever because
I mean, with a
basically have
plumber,
to redo the whole thing.
The plumber, you're talking about if we redo the floor and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
And rip
still
out the
needs to be-
yeah. Which
I
I don't know how long that takes. You could rent an outhouse and we could just put it in the breezeway.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I mean, unless you want it outside.
Breezeway outhouse.
Yeah, you got a drain in the floor.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
You just, what you need is like an
Dude, no,
outhouse.
just take the cover off the drain and just shit right into the drain.
Well,
I
you
mean-
need like an outhouse that has like a giant food dispenser.
What?
Like a,
Whoa, what?
so instead of just it being solid in there, you have like a fan that just whips it into a slurry,
Right.
And then we can drain it into the floor.
Oh, you mean a food processor
Yeah,
in the bottom
yeah.
of the...
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
It's just like 3 poo knives and a fan.
Or you could just run a hose out to the storm drain, like Cousin Eddie.
God.
Shitter's full! That storm drain out there kind of scares me. The manhole cover in the street. Because like when it rains really bad, like it'll actually like pop up and shit.
What do you
Oh,
mean
like
it'll pop up?
I mean, it'll pop up.
Like
out
it
of the
fills
ground.
up that much?
Like
Is it a
it'll-
solid one?
yeah.
Oh, God.
So like, and it's not like water coming up.
Oh, it's like the air pressure?
It's the air pressure. So like if it storms really bad, like you just hear it like clanging around.
Oh, my God.
Like ding, 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 ding,
Your
ding,
sewer's
ding, ding,
possessed.
ding, ding, ding.
Screw that.
And it's like fucking like it's like spinning like a coin, like when you spin
Oh,
a
yeah.
coin,
Yeah.
and
It
it's
rolls
like
on the,
like when it starts getting like flat. That's what
Someone
it like
should
looks
get
like.
that fixed.
I was in those storm drains, the big ones behind the 7-Eleven you used to work at,
Yeah.
by the creek. Like if you were to go down that street past the
Old
railroad
Fox
tracks.
Creek.
Yeah. And like at the end of that trailer park. And I was like hanging out in there one time, as you do. And it started pouring rain. So I was like, I'll be safe in here. I'll wait till the rain goes away in here. And then the water, which was originally only like 6 inches wide, just started filling up and filling up. So it was like I had to jump up on a ladder and I was hanging onto it. And the water was like 5.5 feet high, rushing out like a goddamn
Yep.
river. And my friend was feeding cigarettes to me through like a hole in the manhole cover.
What the fuck?
So I can just smoke in there. And then it finally died out enough. And then like this big chunk of styrofoam came down. And I grabbed it with my foot and hopped on it and rode it out like, into
What
the
the
creek.
hell?
I'm hoping there's not too much of a language barrier for tomorrow. I'm having this
Oh.
Indian guy show up who goes to medical school. And he's been pressuring me to hang out. And I'm like, I guess you can come over.
I had a friend from India. We talked on the phone once while he was still living in Taiwan. And we used to talk online all the time. It was fine. It was the worst phone call ever because neither one of us could understand what the hell the other one was saying.
Was he using like a translator or something? Or
No, he was speaking English. His accent, like by the time a lot of people come over here, their accent isn't, it's it's easy to understand them. But he was still in the thick of other countries and stuff, and it was so difficult to understand a word he was saying. I felt so bad. We never spoke on the phone again. It was just like this guy I've been friends with for years online.
I never talked to him again.
Barely after that because we couldn't understand each other.
I said, get a job, you filthy foreigner.
So I'll cross my fingers for you.
I mean, I've talked to him already, but he's not as bad. But you guys can talk about something else.
We're just waiting.
It was the way he worded it, this thing.
God.
Okay, here we go. I want you to take rest on me, and I want to bear your weight with love.
Aw.
So I don't know what that I guess
It's like you're a weighted blanket.
so,
I
yeah.
I'm going to choose to take it that way and not any other way.
Maybe that's how, like, that's just how they say it, and that's how it translates to English, and that's just how they speak.
Yeah, just like throw your body on mine.
Sounds adorable.
Sounds
Just
very
remember,
reassuring.
if he asks you to fill up a bunch of iTunes gift cards, don't do it. It's a scam. It's funny when I make a racist joke and nobody laughs, so now I'm just exposed as being deeply racist towards Indian people.
That's very strange.
I was watching the local news the other day, and I guess there's a scam going around where they're calling people and telling them that they missed their jury duty. Like they're pretending to be like the local police precinct.
Mm-hmm.
And then like trying to scam them out of money by saying like, oh, you're going to get charged with this, that, and the other thing, and give us money. Okay.
Well, there's 2 special elections coming up in Florida, and one more within 5 months in New York. And if Democrats technically win the 2 seats in Florida, they will have evened out Congress. It'll be 217 to 217. And then if they win the one in New York, it'll be 218 to 217. But if they win the 2 in Florida, they will completely be able to halt anything that Donald Trump's trying to do with an even split in the House.
Okay.
Well, I think there are Republicans that are probably going to halt some of this stuff too. Cause...
If there were already Republican seats in Florida, though, that's like a huge stretch. They'd really have to, move their ass and, appeal to these people.
Yeah.
Like they're saying, they're hoping that it's, once again, like, well, they know for a fact that 20 million people just didn't show up and vote in the national election this time.
Right. Oh,
and then, and it's always lower for Democrats in the midterms. Like, especially younger people don't show up for midterms and shit. So special elections, definitely, I don't have much faith in it, but it's one of those things that they're floating as like a reason to stay positive or whatever. And no matter what they say, though, every 2 years there's like an election, no matter which way the House swings, within 6 months, almost on average, 3 to 4 to 5 Republicans get kicked out of office for crime.
Yeah.
Seriously, like I'm not exaggerating. It happened last time, and it'll probably happen. Well, Matt Gaetz is already gone, for instance. He was going to become or he was going to run for Attorney General, or as one of Trump's nominees. Then he he stepped down from his office. And most people say it's because they had that report that was about to come out about him, sex trafficking underage women, which apparently was true. But because he stepped down from office, he can't actually be held accountable for it because he's no longer in office. So they thought that maybe he was just like, I'll become Attorney General anyway, so fuck my office. But then he got pressured out of the Attorney General, so now he's out of politics. Just like that. Bing, bang, in 2 weeks.
Are they still going to go after him legally for...
No, because apparently they can't because he stepped down from office. Apparently if you commit crimes and then you step down, you resign, you can get away from like...
What?
It would be like...
They thought it was initially a ploy to not release the report that they had on him. That like he wasn't even going to go for the Attorney General thing anyway because he just didn't want that report released.
Oh, okay.
And then
So
they
it wasn't
released
actual.
it anyway after he stepped down from office.
But it would be.
But it was like an impotent report. It was like, well, this is what we were going to do. Here's the report we were going to. Because naturally, then you would have to have hearings and all that shit.
Right.
And then it would probably drag out and ruin his political career anyways, whether or not he got found guilty or not. But by resigning, he gets to avoid all Senate or congressional hearings and all that stuff. So...
Yeah, but what about basic hearings for, like, committing crime?
They'd have to do the You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like the maybe because it's a federal crime that... I don't know. I'm not sure how...
I don't know either. That's very strange.
I mean, it's just an example of how, there's a big club and...
Like, I could see where if it was, like, a private investigation... and they found this report and we're going to release it, and then whatever
well, his partner was found guilty.
Okay.
As like a staffer, or I forget who the guy was. He was absolutely found guilty of sex trafficking and a bunch of other shit. And I think he was like one of his staffers or something like that. Or a campaign, real close to him.
Campaign manager.
Yeah, something like, I forget. We're all idiots here, so we
Right.
But I definitely...
We all work in factories.
Yeah.
The ones of those of us who have jobs.
Well, I worked in a factory. But yeah, but also though our information I think is more reliable than Chelsea Clinton's married to George Soros' Nazi son.
Right.
So even if we're wrong, I'm sure somebody can figure out that we were definitely on the right track.
Right. I agree. Yeah, I would just think that a district attorney would be able to take that report and then file charges against him on a ground level.
Well, the problem with all like the reason why crime in this country is like it doesn't really exist, it's a social construct, is because even your local prosecutor can refuse to prosecute anyone they want for any reason,
That's true.
even murder. Cops can refuse to do an investigation on. They can pick and choose.
Yeah.
Like if your house gets blatantly robbed, the cops can just say nah
Yeah,
and
that's
do
true.
nothing about it, and you can't. And maybe you can appeal to the prosecutor to force it. But if that prosecutor says nah, we don't have time, nothing happens.
Yeah.
And so the same thing on a federal level. It's like, what are the chances we have to win because we don't want to lose, and so they pick and choose, just like accident injury lawyer. I always win. Yes, because you get to pick and choose which cases.
Right.
So you always win because you pick the best ones. The 90% of people who probably have somewhat of a case, like you don't.
It's not only that, but when you're suing somebody, like 90% of the time, it's like settled out of court.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
it's like
it's a quick payday.
So even if it's like they settle it for $100, it's still technically winning the case.
yeah.
You know,
I wish they had.
which is why, like, whenever I hear one of those lawyer ads where they're like, "Well, we only get paid if we win." Well, yeah, then you're just going to be motivated to settle it out of courts as quickly as possible, and then like your fee isn't even going to be a percentage of the winnings. It's going to be probably a flat fee up to a certain amount.
Yeah. 50%.
Yeah, like unless you get like millions of dollars, then it'll be a percentage.
Didn't you hear the subject change?
What? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
The fox
I'm sorry.
has spoken.
I'm sorry. I didn't catch the segment fart.
So last week, me and Sean were doing meth and masturbating.
I knew it.
You know, one of those methed out goon sessions.
Louie, I thought you weren't going to tell anybody.
Oh, that was another thing the right-wing chick said to me, too. She's like, they spent a bunch of money on trans mice. And I just told her, I said, Google furry transgender mouse.
No.
She's like, well, why? What about? I'm like, just do it. Just do it. But I couldn't stop laughing at that. Trans mice.
I'm doing it. I don't know what you're talking
Then I'm thinking of like a scientist going, you know how like that mouse has got a dick? What if we put tits on it? Wouldn't that be science or something?
Furry trans mice.
Shannon, no. Why? Shannon.
Oh.
Tell us what you
I'm
see.
not as mortified as I thought I'd be.
Well, you have to hit like Google Images. So you get the full.
Okay.
Oh.
And you should probably put
no.
NSFW.
NSFW.
Well,
okay.
at least Louis has some pictures to edit in when he edits this.
Everything
and
is
throws it on
blocked.
YouTube.
What happened? That NSFW made it so that everything's blurry.
You have it like set to that?
Apparently, turn safe search off.
There we go.
Oh God, you're lucky I worked at Priscilla's for a year and a half. I'm not even
So
fazed by
you
this.
saw a lot of furry trans mice.
We had this one cartoon. Who the hell? I don't remember who was in it, but it was all cartoons, and then it was like one regular guy, and so he was having sex with cartoons. I don't know. It was weird.
Wait, what?
What?
It was like a porno?
Yeah.
And they
Oh, we
could-
had all different kinds of porn.
But
So
that
it
had
was
to be
like
expensive.
it was like a Who
No.
Framed Roger Rabbit of porn.
Yeah, but it was only one guy, and he was in a cartoon world.
So
It was more like Cool World.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So it's a cool world of porn.
So it was like,
yeah.
Or alternatively,
Cool
Cool
World.
World.
yeah, that was Ralph Bakshi was the animator for Cool World. They brought him in on Roger Rabbit, and you can tell what his scenes are because he's always been the laziest You know the scene where that woman's like, "It's a man,"
Ugh,
and
yes.
the way she's animated looks so like
Grotesque.
Yeah, grotesque and like different than all the other tunes.
Yes,
and
it's
then when
horrible.
he rips the strip in the road and he throws it, when the camera pans over, the strip goes into the wall. It pans the road strip.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Because she's supposed to follow the line in the road
Yes.
into the brick
Yeah.
wall. But when the camera pans over to the brick wall, the strip continues moving. And it's like, Ralph Bach, like, he's a piece of shit. Most of the stuff he does is shit. And then he would do, like, really racist shit and then claim, no, I'm drawing attention to racism. He did, like, a retelling of, what was the one? The Briar Rabbit story. And it's, like, one of the most, like, racist cartoons ever.
Yeah, I believe it.
And but he's like, no, I'm drawing attention to how Americans would depict black people. It's like it's 1977, buddy, and you've got like big lipped, like it was the most racist thing ever. You're not drawing attention to shit. You're a cringe, like he was an edgelord basically. And then
that's messed up.
What
Let's
was
take
the
a look
name
at
of
that clip.
Yeah, what's it? This reminded me of that cartoon, not Felix. What the hell was it?
Fritz.
Yes,
the Cat.
Fritz the Cat.
I mean,
Thank
Fritz
you.
the Cat was Harry Crumb,
Whoa.
animator. Well, not animator. He was a cartoonist, and Fritz the Cat was a good cartoon strip. Fritz the Cat, the movie, was Ralph Bakshi again.
Okay, that's
And-
why that's so familiar, because that's what I saw.
And it just came across as like scrambled, confusing, and like
Yes,
and
I
just
saw-
grungy, and yeah.
I saw it one time in my 20s, and I was like, what is this?
And
I was
Harry
like,
Crumb.
oh my god.
Harry Crumb disowned it, like basically. He said that I don't know what the fuck that
Understandable.
piece
I
of
think
shit was.
I watched it as a teenager, and I was like, "What?"
And do
is
you remember the
this?
racist
Yeah.
shit in that too? The fat black crows going,
Yeah,
ooh,
yes.
sugar. Like
When
yeah.
those crows came out, I was like, wow. Wow. I was like, more like, what the hell is happening right now?
Like
and that
it-
was in the, what, 90s?
no,
Early
that was-
2000s? No, that I'm saying that I watched it.
Oh, okay.
Before everything got even, like,
I mean, that's-
more PC.
Like you're telling me he thought the crows and Dumbo were racist in like 1969 or 70 when he made that movie, and that's his way of drawing attention to it by making them big fat black women who
Right.
like sex. Like what? No, nobody thought the crows and Dumbo were racist in 1970. Like
Right. No, but 1990, early 2000s, it was definitely.
those crows were racist. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All crows are racist. Talking about actual crows, like that one that made its way into my house somehow.
I don't know.
You
if
had
that
a
was-
crow in your house?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how that happened.
I missed that one.
I was
How did
like-
we not talk
I
about that?
I just like wake up one day and there's just like a bunch of messages on my phone saying there's a crow and there's a bird in the house. There's a bird in the house. And it's like he's like leaving messages.
didn't even
There's
tell
a
me.
bird in the house. And so I get up and then like the second I leave my bedroom, it's like, okay, I got the bird out of the house. And I'm like,
Well, I opened up
what
the-
are you talking about?
It was like banging around in here.
Yeah.
And then it flew into the fan and
Oh
was
my
like
God.
sitting on the fan blade looking at me in my room.
Like, you bitch.
and
You're going to
and
get me out?
yeah, then it got up on the Christmas lights up there, but its like mouth was agape. You can tell it was like freaking out, so it was just like. So I came
Which is the appropriate reaction for being in my house for any length of time.
Yeah.
Just panic.
But then I opened the front door and it flew out. And 2 minutes later, Sean finally gets up and comes out.
Like,
You
what's
better keep
going
your
on?
eyes peeled for this crow bringing back his friends like this is the house.
And then
How did he get in here?
his camera didn't pick it up or anything too. So
Yeah, we don't know how it got in.
yeah, the only thing I could think of is that somehow it got in through like the furnace or something.
Yeah, but it's so blocked off. Was it before it was blocked off like that?
No,
This was like recent. This was
It's
I
like a
know,
couple
because
weeks
when you
ago.
said Christmas lights, I know they haven't been up.
I mean, like I don't know if it like got into a vent on the roof and like fell in
I don't know.
and then like banged its way out or something. I don't know.
I'm just going to blame Sean's bathroom.
It came up through the toilet.
Gotta watch out for them toilet
It's really a
crows.
trapdoor in the soft spot in the floor.
Oh God.
It's just carpet.
So we're gonna tear that floor up in the bathroom, and then
The alien
grem-
from
gremlin-
Aliens is going to come out.
like ghoulies are gonna come up out of the floor.
Or it'll be like an advanced like microbe city,
Shit starts flying out.
little
Like
rockets.
the Jetsons. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be like The Simpsons.
There's gonna
She
be
made that
And they have a
society.
statue of Sean.
well, no, there's gonna
No, they
be
have a
like
petrified turd of yours.
there's going to be one of them like at a podium addressing millions and stating that there is no God. And then
They've
we
been
peel back the
forsaken.
floorboard, and then they just all freak out.
It's because their water source from the toilet has been dwindling.
It just turns into complete anarchy. We've been wrong this entire time.
You know, I'm so annoyed. Speaking of jobs, right? So I'm so annoyed with like we went
I
through.
didn't hear a fart segue. There we go.
But yeah, we went through that. Post-COVID or just immediately post-COVID, where it was nobody wants to work.
Right,
And
where
because-
everybody was applying everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
also, they are also only paying like 25 cents above minimum wage for everything.
Yeah.
So I applied I'm like, because out of just sheer boredom. And plus, once I get my house money, if there's listeners, we sold my dad's house and it's been locked up in probate courts. So I moved in here with Sean, and I've been waiting on this fucking money forever. And
God damn it.
It's been a literal nightmare for
Yeah.
me.
yeah, no,
Just living in my house.
Getting attacked by birds, power going out.
Dealing with my ass. Just
no, that part got out of the way like in the first month, right?
what?
The cleanup or whatever.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
just getting things organized. Part of me wonders if Sean's like, it's my house. What's he doing?
No, he's not.
He's
What's
over-
he? What? Yeah, I'm like,
what's he building in there?
Yeah, what's he building up there? God damn it, we have a right to know.
But out of like boredom too, like when he was going to work, I just started like, I'll just make a project and do something just to stay busy or whatever. And so I'm like bored, but it's like, yeah, I can use some extra money just so I don't have to like bum a pack of cigarettes off Sean every once in a while or whatever. And so I applied at all the fast food places in the joint, and I kind of want to work in fast food because I never have, and I want to know what it's like because I actually
Why?
because,
Why?
Because-
it's like I'm gonna shoot myself in the thigh because I want to feel what it's like.
No, but I mean, like I've worked in factories.
Yeah.
And I've kind of like my whole life picked up the mantle of speaking
you ever
for the
see
factory
somebody?
worker.
You ever see somebody get hit by a semi truck? I just want to feel what it's like.
Yeah. No, but the other thing too is my plan is if I go to bartending school and then become a bartender at a gay bar, which I guarantee you
Yeah.
I'd make twice as much as I made in a factory.
Yes.
But it's like I don't have that experience of like the rush. You know what I mean? So it's like, and everyone, anytime I work somewhere, I also want to know how easy is it. So every time I don't, because I'm always very, what do you call it? Understanding when I get the wrong thing every time I go to fast food and have to wait for 20 minutes for a fucking McGriddle or whatever. So I want to know, is it poor management? Is it really the worker's fault? Is it like what's going on there?
It's a combination of everything.
Yeah. But I'm also
It's
wondering
horrible.
how easy is it to fix? Because I guarantee you, like, because I'm so above that type of work.
That's why I want you to work specifically at the Wendy's down here.
Fix the Wendy's.
Oh, why not
Fix
grab
that
it?
Wendy's because they have for the past how long have I lived here? It's probably been like 16 years that I've lived in this house.
Oh my God.
That Wendy's has never ever gotten my order right. Ever.
Well, like all the
That
factory
might be
jobs,
the easiest one to work at then.
all the factory jobs I've worked though, they put me on the hardest shit. I learn it. Then I end up training everyone. When I did security for years and years, because like my military background, they either made me a supervisor without the title or pay,
Yeah.
or I was a supervisor.
That's always
and
fun, isn't
everything
it?
ran great when I would handle
Yes.
it because I wasn't like riding people's asses and like, whatever. So it's like, could I walk into a fast food place and literally turn it over in like a couple weeks?
You could,
But-
or you. It depends.
But then the
Yeah,
other
but
thing
it's
is,
also-
that shithole on the corner, Hook and Reel?
Yes.
So I applied for them because they have a job for a busser, and I'm like, that'd be
Okay.
fun.
Just call it
just
a
going for
shithole?
5. Well, I don't know. I just
I mean, hook and reel.
yeah. I don't know.
It's pretty good.
Oh, I've never had it, so I'm. You know what? I'm very prejudiced because I ate at Oak and Reel on that. Remember that date where I got stuck with a $300 bill?
Oh yeah,
It was a first date. That was when I stopped dating women forever. And
Yeah, I don't blame you on that.
Yeah, she was ordering oysters and everything. There was no menu, no prices on the menu. And then I get the bill and it's like $280, and that's not including tip.
She
and-
offered to pay
No.
any of it. Oh, what a bitch.
And,
No, and he's like complaining about how the food sucks, and
It
she's
did.
getting offended.
Yeah, like the
Why
She's
is
next,
getting
she getting
offended
offended?
because
It's not
he
like
doesn't
she
like the
cooked it.
food.
What,
Yeah,
did she pick it?
yeah, she picked it because of the
Oh.
proximity to her, and she knew one of the bartenders. But at one point when we were sitting at the bar, which right off the bat, if I'm going to spend $280 on a meal, I'm not going to sit at a fucking bar. But
Nope.
like, I was like, "What's this?" Because they had all these unlabeled bottles. I was like, "What's this?" Thinking it was maybe salad dressing or something. She's like, "Don't touch the bartender's tools," because
Oh my God.
she was a bartender apparently,
Yeah.
and
no.
and she was adding all this like extra.
Was she younger? I
She
mean,
was
it was a while
30
ago.
at the time, and I would have been like 37, 38.
It's okay. She was younger than 32. She was still a kid.
No, maybe I was like
younger
39.
than 32 is still a kid.
Yeah, I think so.
But she was already getting Botox in her face, she told me.
Oh.
Which that also made me go like
Yeah.
because
I would say
as you know,
anybody younger
Shannon,
than 26 is a
as
kid.
you know, Shannon, white women age like bread.
I sure do. I mean, yeah. I definitely look like I'm in my 50s.
When you date nothing but black men, you tend to get spoiled on the way everyone else ages. But that's
I don't
I
think I
date
look
black
very
men.
bad for my age.
I don't like this where this conversation's going because I've looked like I'm 40 for
I know.
the past 20 years.
Usually everyone thinks he's older than me.
Well, yeah, that used to be my joke with Louis is that if we ever did a movie, like he would be the star and I'd play his dad, even though he's like 6, 7 years.
Yeah. But yeah, so the place Hook and Reel on the corner was like hiring for bussers, and I'm like, which is so below me, but at the same time, it's like work 5 hours a night and then like you
Some
get
cash in
tips
hand,
and
yeah.
Plus whatever pay,
Yeah.
and it's right on the corner.
Yep.
And
no,
so
that's a good point.
I haven't heard anything from them in like 2 days, so it's like, do you want to blah blah? So I just like messaged them today. I'm like, I live in the houses right behind Kroger. What's going on?
Right.
like
literally, I could be there.
yeah.
Like you need me, I
in
can
5
be there.
fucking minutes on foot. Like
I don't know what. I hate people.
nobody wants to work.
I like the fart better.
What?
I like the fart better.
It's like a big button pad.
Soundboard.
Well,
Yeah.
like really, like you can like pull up a soundboard on your phone and
Yeah.
connect it to that via Bluetooth because that's what this thing is.
Yeah.
And then you can just put
Yeah.
whatever. Shut up.
I always found that weird when I'm like dating someone and they say something like, "This makes me gassy." It's like, well, I don't want to know that.
Yeah.
I want to be surprised later.
Yeah. When I had the,
You know how you're like afraid to fart around somebody that you're first dating, but like you're openly talking about your bowels.
yeah.
Some people don't do poo talk.
That happened with.
Welcome to Poo Talk.
I think I have great bowel control, but there was this stuff that was. It was a imitation Molly, called like.
Wait, bowel control, is that the gay man's version of pussy control?
But yeah, it was like the street name would be like BK MDMA. It was basically imitated MDMA, but it wasn't actually MDMA. It was like a Chinese research chemical.
Oh, God.
And like basically what they do is they take the strain, because that's what they ban. It'll be like the chemical compound of the drug. But if you remove one of the molecules, naturally that can affect the whole way the drug works.
Yes.
However, the DEA or FDA no
Didn't
longer
ban
has
it.
that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a new thing, and they would have to do studies before they can ban it. And that's how you
Oh my
had
God.
legal highs being sold in head shops and stuff in like the 2010s.
Yeah. Are
And-
we going toward bath salts here?
Yes, but everything you heard about bath salts is a lie. It was sold as bath salts.
Well, right.
Because if you sold anything as
Salts.
meant to eat,
Yeah.
then the FDA would get involved and be like, "What are you feeding people?"
Right.
So they would sell it as plant food or bath salts, but it was
Right.
not plant food or bath salts.
Right.
It was just a way to get around the regulations.
Correct.
And then all the stories you heard about cannibals and all that stuff,
So
none of them had any of it
Florida
in
man
their
didn't
system.
eat. Florida man didn't eat another man's face because of bath salts.
Yeah, he just ate another man's face because he was a crazy wacko.
because he's Florida man.
Yeah. And
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He wasn't on bath salts?
No.
No, well, I don't know.
No.
I mean-
You can look it up. No, absolutely none of the cases did they have. I think in only 2 of the cases they found some like marijuana in their system. One guy, he parked at the end. They had cameras on the bridge. He had been out all day looking for a job. Like he had been unemployed for a while and driving around looking for a job. His car had no air conditioning.
Oh,
he was
God.
like boiling hot, and they said his car like either died or stopped at the front of one bridge.
Oh.
And then at the end of the bridge, the camera caught him walking naked, and then he went under the bridge and attacked a guy.
So he pulled a falling down.
Yeah, or he went crazy from dehydration
Yeah.
or
Well,
something.
yeah.
And the only thing they found in his system was like remnants of marijuana, as if like he might have smoked some like,
Oh, like-
3-4 days prior. And
He ran
but
out
they
of the
used
stuff.
those stories, and the news fell right in line because
Yeah.
the DA goes, "This is what's going on, and you have to report on it." And the news can't wait to jump on it because it's sensationalist.
Right.
Bath salts are turning people into zombies.
Right.
You won't believe, and then it creates enough like public outcry to just hurry up and ban something.
Right.
But it was just government as usual trying to ban a legal high.
Right.
And however, that stuff they would go, BK MDMA
Yeah.
or methylone, they would call it too. Was like more of the chemical compound name. Was getting sold as like Molly a lot, imitation Molly.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, it was kind of better than Molly because Molly would drain your serotonin. This
Yes.
stuff wouldn't. It would only mask what draining your serotonin feels like, but it was more of an amphetamine. And Sean's taken it before too, and it was pretty fun. But
I think I took it once,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
like I don't even like remember how I felt on it.
It felt like Molly, like you had euphoria, but you would have been way more up. I remember we were all hanging out in Luke's aunt's basement.
Yeah,
and we were all like
yeah,
talking
but
a
it
mile
was
a minute.
like I didn't take that much of it, so it was like a lot of like, "Are you feeling it?" And I'm like, "I guess."
I remember you saying though, like an hour later, you went, "Oh, I'm feeling it now."
Yeah, I felt something, but I don't really remember. I don't remember much of that night, to be honest with you.
But yeah, that drug though would.
I will say this: Molly is so much better.
It was probably for you since you're like so virgin on it, like you only take it like once a year. But I don't know. Sometimes I take
That's
it.
how I do drugs, sparingly.
But yeah, the stuff would be because who knows what's in it, right? So it hits your stomach acid, and sometimes it would just
Right.
like fucking pop rocks and
Oh
coke.
my God.
And a lot of times that would not come up as a burp or something. It would just shoot down your guts.
Oh my
And
God.
so half the night you'd just be like, oh, and you'd have to like rip the like the worst farts or whatever. But I can control it. But I remember there was like a guy I was dating, and he ate it, and it was almost immediate, and he just started farting in front of me and going,
God.
this stuff always makes me so gassy.
Oh.
But I remember one night having a guy in my house. Had been doing it all night. I remember. The only thing I remember about him is he had a glass eye and he sold underwear.
What the fuck?
Fascinating.
But you wouldn't know. He was like a good-looking guy. You wouldn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, like, he can get away with selling the whatever designer gay boy underwear because of how he looked. So, but it does sound
honestly,
funnier to
because
say
you
that.
said because
Glass
you said
eye
glass
underwear.
eye. I'm just imagining you dating Peter Falk, but he's selling.
Well, because he had dark
men's
eyes,
underwear.
you couldn't tell if it was going like Sammy Davis Jr., like wandering. I didn't notice it, at least.
I just like the idea of like Peter Falk in a trench coat being like, "One more thing, you want to buy some underwear?" Just opens his coat and there's just like a bunch of like gay boy underwear.
Yeah, that's the brand name too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to.
All underwear, no ass.
Well, what pissed me off is we went back to my house. I cut it. I smashed it up into a powder. I had a bunch left over.
The underwear?
No, yeah. And I went to go take a piss, and when I came back, he had just licked up like over half of it.
Oh no.
And
That's very uncouth.
I was like, "What the fuck?" Like we're talking like half a gram.
Oh my God.
Like 5 hits of it. Like after we had already done like maybe 2 or 3 that night because we went to like Ann Arbor to like this like popular like club, big nightclub or whatever. And but I remember like I couldn't sleep, and I would have to. I'm like, oh, I gotta go check my car for something, and I would just run out of the apartment, go down to my car, and rip farts because they were so bad, like loud, like violent.
Hold on, I gotta go to my car to fart. I had to do that Peter Griffin impression because we did almost an entire podcast without me doing a single impression.
But no, it wasn't like, because normal farts stink because it's literally the breakdown of the food in your guts and the bacteria.
Yeah.
This was like a fucking chemical compound fizzing up.
It's your body breaking down
It
all
just
the
smells like
crows
cotton
you
candy.
ate.
Yeah. Yeah, so there was
like
like
a vape pen.
yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah. Plumes of visible plumes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I can fart vape rings. I don't think the mic picked that up.
I think it did.
You should have done it on the
Segue.
table so it would have rumbled.
Segway.
Kratom is something that they've tried to go after in a couple of states. I think Tennessee and there's a handful of states say you have to be 21 or older to buy it. And I think in most states it's 18 or older to buy it. But I don't know, to me it's almost like well, it's just a plant. It's called like mitrogina or something. And they
It's-
have like capsules, but they also have it like condensed in like liquid, which can
It
be
is-
super potent if it's your first time. You can get like nauseous.
It
from
is the grossest thing you've ever tasted.
Yeah, it tastes like boiled grass. But here's the thing: is that now they have pills. They've crushed them down to pills, and like the pills, you don't taste anything. But it's like they used a different chemical compound to break it down, and like I can pop 2 of those pills, and it'll like cure my back pain for like the entire day.
Wow, really?
And like whereas like I pop like 3 ibuprofen and 3 Tylenol 500s a day for like limited like
Right.
like nothing basically.
Like there was one time I took kratom. I think it was like when we were still working on the house,
Oh yeah.
and like I don't know if I took like half the bottle or the whole thing, but like it was like way too much, and like I just started having an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably your body's just like, what is this new thing? I'm freaking out.
Well, like I had taken kratom before then. That wasn't like the first time I took kratom.
Yeah, it can affect you like different ways. Like, but the way you do it though, like what, like once every 2 weeks or something.
Yeah,
like so.
that. Usually, like when I get a wild hair up my ass, and I'm like, I'm gonna go on the treadmill and then take some kratom.
It does help for working out though, doesn't
Yes.
it? It's like I don't know what it is. It gives you like, if you do a short amount, it gives you like energy, but it also kind of like numbs your pain or whatever.
Well, yeah,
So
if
if
you're-
you've worked out the day before and you're all sore and you take kratom, it like the soreness goes away for like 3-4 hours.
No shit.
And then you pump out another workout, and then the next day you'll feel like shit again. But
Right.
if you got another workout to do, you can just take a little bit more.
Or if you're like me, you'll just feel like shit every day regardless.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I kind of do anyways too.
Well, yeah. It's called aging. Don't
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, they say that, but they're full
Don't-
of shit. Like,
Kids, don't get old.
Don't get old.
but my back injury, though, shit's been fucking with me since 2010, and getting progressively worse. So, like, I was 29, 30.
Yeah.
So,
And then there's Mike, who just like complains about literally everything. Like I always
Well,
found
I mean-
that funny. Like he complains about like
hi, I'm Mike. I got diabetes.
yeah yeah Scott Malcolmson.
Yeah.
But like he like every pain that he has is like the worst pain imaginable, and like he's like constantly complaining about it, and then it's like okay, and then there's Louis, who's had like horrible back problems for most of his adult life, and you wouldn't know it
Well,
until like you have like enough conversations with him to kind of piece it together.
Well, the factory job I had was destroying. Like, I got carpal tunnel from them. I had to go to medical for that.
Right.
And they said I had like arthritis in my lower spine. So, but just that would get worse from the job I was doing, because I'm standing like 10 hours a day lifting 50-pound parts and all this other shit. And what I hated about it is I was working out like so much before I started this job. And when I started this job for like the past year, I would work out once or twice a week because of how bad everything hurt. I couldn't even like curl because of the carpal tunnel.
Right.
Like I physically couldn't. It would hurt so bad. It was like right up my
yeah.
arm to my elbow. And I was
It was-
waking up with these 3 fingers on each hand completely numb. I couldn't
Yeah.
lift my arms above my head. I'm like, what the fuck? So they're just going to destroy my body and ruin my life to where I can't even exercise?
Right.
Or on the 1 or 2 days I have off a week, I'm just laying around going,
Right.
for like $18 an hour.
Yeah.
Like, like fuck that. So originally my plan was I was going to try to wait till my vacation renewed, and then I was going to take my vacation and then just quit in January.
Yeah.
But they cut me off before that because
Right.
of the argument I got into with them, but mostly because of like the sort of like tension I was feeling from all that.
Yeah.
So I started getting more and more short-tempered when they fuck around with me. They
Yeah.
were like, I'd go to a doctor's appointment, they wouldn't give me my sick day.
Right.
Well, now you need to go get this from the doctor. I'm like, I had the doctor email it to you. We need a physical copy.
No, you
Well,
don't.
Yeah, it was just like constant shit like that. And then when I gave him like a physical copy, well, it's been 2 weeks, so we should have gotten it. Like, so we're not gonna. There was like constant shit like that.
No. Oh,
And then they
God.
were taking money out of nowhere. They just decided to sign me up for a 401k without like my permission, and they were
Right.
taking like money out of my check every week. And I didn't notice because I had that ADP shit online. I didn't look at my fucking pay
Right.
stubs,
Right.
and I'm like, why are my checks so short? Like I'm noticing like I put in like 52 hours this week. What the
Yeah.
fuck is this? And then I find out, and I'm like, can I get my money back? And they're like, no, well, you got, well, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, this is a separate company, like arguing with me
Right.
about giving me my money back and shit. So I end up
You
getting...
never signed up for it, though.
Yeah. But I yelled at them, and then, yeah. But I was just getting, like, short-tempered from, like, the pain I'm feeling, and every day they're just... And then they put me back on the job that caused all the problems.
Right.
I was on, like, light limited duty for, like, 6 weeks, maybe. Probably less than that, 5 weeks. And then they said, your carpal tunnel is cured, which doesn't happen. It's like, no, you have it for life, fuck you.
No.
And then they immediately put me back on the same jobs that caused those same problems. And and then the two people who took over my job while I was on light limited duty, people who had been there for like a year, quit within 2 weeks of doing my job.
Yeah.
So now they had to put me back on the job because they couldn't put a new person on it because they would walk off the job in a week. And then if they put a person that they like that does a good job somewhere else on it, they would quit and walk off the job. So it's just like the standard work them to death until they're all used up and then fucking start all over again, which is how most factory jobs I've worked at were like that.
Right.
When I worked for Chrysler, for 2.5 years, they had me lifting, because the hoist never worked.
Right.
At a brand new Chrysler plant making the Jeep Cherokee. So I would have to lift the batteries by hand and screw them into every Jeep Cherokee coming down the line every 45 seconds.
Oh my God.
550 cars a day, nonstop. 10 hours a day, mandatory. 6 days a week, mandatory. And
They couldn't get the hoist fixed.
And that probably fucked up my back more because...
Yeah, it probably did.
The Jeep Cherokees aren't sitting on the ground. They're sitting on a thing that rises.
Right.
So when they got to my station, it's the fucking SUV is already like 1.5 feet off the ground, like higher. And like when I'd have to lift the diesels in, because those were even like...
You just gotta stretch up further.
And I would feel my back just go like cracking like every time I would do it.
Yeah.
And that's probably when I got the worst... Like that, the way my back hurt after that, that's when it really started getting progressively worse.
See, that whole line should have been down until that hoist was repaired.
Yeah, I complained about it to everyone.
Well, this is America, where you cannot shut the line down for anything.
Well, not only that,
but that's where the union steward should have come in. And
well, since the UAW was founded,
we can shut down today's podcast because we've been talking for over an hour.
Okay, well, I'll just add this one thing. Yeah. Just the UAW for decades had a rule saying 1 car every 60 seconds. Mm-hmm. And for obvious reasons, for quality reasons. Because even if somebody can do the job in 45 seconds, that gave them 15 seconds to look over the fucking job they just did, and maybe the last worker's job.
Yeah.
And so you had better quality with that. And you also had less injuries because people weren't like, because you can get used to the... Yeah. And they just decided, guys can do it in 45 seconds, and they would run that line, a car every 45 seconds. But this is right after, this was in 2013 to 2015. Mm-hmm. This is after they created the 2-tier system for the UAW workers, where you had the new hires who had less protections and everything. And they basically cut the balls off the UAW after they took the bailouts, the auto industry or whatever. And so they just had less power. They actually put power back into management's hands to decide on an individual basis of who gets what. So if a woman said, I'm 3 months pregnant and my baby's bothering the shit out of me today, can I go home? They could go, no. Or they can say yes. But then a guy like me can say, my back's completely fucked up. Too bad. When I actually went to urgent care for that, and I got like a doctor's note saying he needs to take 3 days off work. Mm-hmm. And then I actually said, hey, because I didn't want to lose the money, so I actually came back to work within 2 days, but I submitted the doctor's notes. Management was able to say, we don't accept these doctor notes, 2 points. I don't know if they can do that now, that the UAW has been restructured and everything, and kind of gotten their balls back, but
maybe.
It's just an example of how they got rid of that power, and the company wasted no time to exploit it to as much as they could. And actually,
it seems like they do that.
It also opens the doors to that classic 1920s, 30s thing where if management's having sex with you, then they can decide you can do this, and that, but then everyone else, that's why the individual basis thing is the fastest track to corruption.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I have stories of management fucking coworkers and that fucking me over, but we'll save that for next time.
So
yeah. So join us next time as we talk about embarrassing stories and how I got fucked over by management fucking my coworkers.
Literally. Is this a sign of the attention deficit where it starts off with...
And one thing.
Yeah. Who knows where this is going?
I don't remember where we started, but this is where we ended up.
I mean, like, that's the glory of the whole concept of this podcast. It is literally just whatever fucking conversation we want.
So that's the title, is Media Literacy to Molly Farts.
Yeah. We didn't even get into the media literacy thing. Shannon's like, I want to do a podcast about media literacy. Okay, fart jokes. Let's go.
Well, we're American, so.
Yeah.
All right.
It's part of our life.
Well,
this is how we cope.
Share, like, subscribe, leave a comment, whatever the fuck.
And brutally make fun of us.
Please.
Only good feedback.
Please listen.
Accepted.
Please love me.